Hey everyone, this is the Millionaire Hippies podcast with your host, Boom Shikha, where we chat about spirituality, business, and health. We all want to live self-actualizing, fulfilling lives with joy, prosperity, and gratitude. Let's go on this beautiful journey together.
Hey everyone, welcome to another episode in my podcast. I hope that you guys are doing amazing wherever you are. In today's podcast, I wanted to speak to you guys about the importance of trusting our intuition. I don't know what it is about intuitive people. For some reason, all of these individuals are trusting their nonsensical judgments, even though they might not be true. And intuitive people who should actually be trusting their intuition because it's basically the power that they have are not trusting their intuition. I don't know what this random mishmash of thing is. It's like that saying that says, the wise are always unsure of themselves and the foolish are always too sure of themselves. That's the way I think of intuitive people. They're so wise and they should trust their intuition because intuition is basically tapping into the source, and they're not. They're distrustful of it or mistrustful of it because they don't know where this information is coming from, and we've been taught over and over again that if you can't see something, then you shouldn't trust it. Well, we live in the new paradigm right now, and I want to tell you that if you can't see it, you should still be able to trust it because most important things on this planet cannot be seen. The reason I want to talk to you guys about intuition is because I've been getting more and more savvy with listening to my intuition and following it despite all of the authorities and all of the data pointing in the opposite direction. And I've noticed that it's actually really important for me to do that, specifically when all the data is pointing in the opposite direction, because it's as if I am not following all the sheeple or all the sheep that are out there and who are walking in a certain direction, so that I can protect myself from that kind of sheeple behavior, from that kind of behavior that says mimic everyone else because if they're doing it, you must do it as well because if everyone's doing it, it must be right. If everyone's getting married, then it must be the best way to live your life. If everyone is living for retirement or waiting for retirement, then that's the best way to live your life. If everyone is doing something, then it's right. That's the way you're supposed to live your life, right? Obviously, that's not true. And so when your gut is telling you to go in the opposite direction, to walk a path that has not been walked before, then you should just follow it. And remember that there's a reason why your gut, why your intuition is directing you onto that path. The reality of our situation as human beings is that we are blind, deaf, and dumb. And even if we have eyesight, even if we have ears that work, they don't really actually work that well because they're limited in their sensing capabilities, right? If we have eyes that work properly or function properly, we're still only able to get a few bits of information into our conscious mind using our eyes. Most of the information is filtered out because it's just too much data coming at us at once, right? So the brain needs to kind of figure out, okay, what's the important stuff in this environment? Let me focus on that rather than focusing on everything that's out there. Same thing with our ears and our nose and our senses. Every sense of ours, except the sixth sense, has limitations upon it, and it has only a certain amount of stuff that can come through it. But sixth sense is the only sense subconsciously that can bring in a lot more data into yourself. Instead of only, being able to see a few bits of data at a time, your unconscious, subconscious, your gut, your intuition is looking at thousands and thousands of bits of data at the same time, analyzing it and realizing what is important here, how should I move forward. A lot of cases and a lot of times I'll be sitting there and I'll intuitively know something. But if you ask me to explain it to you, how do you know this? What is it that is causing you to feel this way? I have no idea how to explain it to you. I have no idea. I can't even begin to explain it to you because I don't know why I feel this way, but I know that my gut or my intuition is telling me to go in a certain direction. And so because my gut is telling me to go that way, I'm thinking to myself, okay, it's my gut, let me just follow it. If I had to explain it, I wouldn't be able to explain it. So obviously my gut or my intuition, my subconscious is seeing all of this information behind the scene. It's seeing all this information about this person that gives me the heebie-jeebies. I don't know why this person gives me the heebie-jeebies. I don't know why this person gives me, sends a shiver up my spine or it gives me all these warning bells. But there's a reason for it. I can't see it consciously, but my unconscious perhaps saw something that I can't explain at the moment. Eventually, in hindsight, I'll be able to explain it because that person will show their true colors eventually, right? But right now, for some reason, I'm unsure. And that is causing me to ask questions of myself. Because I don't know what my intuition is seeing, I'm not sure how to explain it. And so I'm thinking to myself, how can I trust something that I cannot see? Well, that's the thing about intuition, about gut, about the invisible world, that world that we live in. 99% of the world that we live in is invisible. It's not we're not savvy to it. We can't see it, right? And so who are we to say that we can only trust things that we can see when 99% of the world is invisible to us? That doesn't make any sense. It does not make any sense. So we have to start trusting our gut, our intuition, making sure that we trust the most important source of data that is out there for a human being right now. That's what I believe. I think that if you are that kind of person who can use your gut or your intuition to make most of your judgments or most of your decisions through the day, I think you'll be 10, 100, 1,000 times more successful than an individual who completely and entirely relies on their mind, on their conscious mind to make their decisions, right? We don't want to be that person. We don't want to be that person who only relies on our conscious mind. Because basically what we're doing at that point is we're handicapping ourselves. It's as if our subconscious is able to see 99% of the world, and our mind, our conscious mind, only sees 1% of the world, and we're only relying on that 1% of data to make all of these random decisions. We're handicapping ourselves. We're blinding ourselves. We're making ourselves be less than we are. And that's not what we want to do. So trust your intuition, trust your gut. Just to share an example with you, a few months ago, I met this individual who seemed really great on the surface. He was a mentor, a coach, and he had, built multi-million-dollar businesses, several of them, as he said. And he knew a lot. He was a great talker. He was a great salesperson. And everyone around me, all of my friends, were enamored with him, and they were, telling me that, he's a great coach, and you should get in on this as well. He's going to coach us one-on-one, blah, blah, blah. But for some reason, and I can kind of pinpoint it now, looking back, but at that point, I didn't know what the reason was, but for some reason, I didn't trust this individual. I kind of pinpointed it at that point to say, maybe it's because he doesn't really take care of his physical health. And for me, as an individual, as a spiritual person, I know that if you are a person who ignores your body to take care of only your mind, then I can't trust you, because I know how important our bodies are, how much intelligence is stored in our bodies. And if you're not taking care of one of the most important tools, the only body that you have, then I cannot trust you. I can't trust you. It's just my rule in life is that if you're not going to be fully balanced in that manner, specifically only focusing on money or only focusing on mind or only focusing on one aspect of yourself instead of focusing on all the different three parts, mind, body, spirit, then I have a really hard time trusting or being friendly with you. And so that was my reason that I gave to myself at that point, because he was really out of shape and he could barely get out of his seat on his own, and he was taking hundreds of pills every single day, and he was unfit in so many different ways. He might have been really smart, but for me, I couldn't trust him because he was not taking care of his most important tool, right? And so I said no, obviously, and I didn't get on to that mentorship program. And a few days ago, I actually talked to one of the people who actually did get on to the mentorship program. And I heard about how they were on an 8-week program and they learned nothing, and it was a big disaster, and she was really angry about it, and she trusted him. She'd put her trust into this individual, and he'd obviously betrayed it. She was extremely upset, but in my mind, I was thinking to myself, thank God for my gut. Thank God for my gut. And that really reinforced for me the fact that I am going to be even more savvy, even more diligent about following my gut from now on. Because at that point, I had all the signals from my conscious mind were telling me, you should go and be mentored by this person because he obviously knows his shit. But my gut was saying no, over and over again. And so I listened to my gut because that's what I'm practicing to do. But I'm so grateful that my gut is so powerful and so intuitively savvy. I don't know what else to call it. It's just so brilliant. And so from now on, even if all of the data is pointing something in a different direction, I'm really going to trust my gut. I'm really, really, really going to trust my gut. I'm going to try really hard to trust my gut. And I implore you guys to do exactly the same. No matter what the data is pointing to, please, if your gut is telling you something different, especially if it's something completely opposite, please trust your gut. There is a really good reason for it. You might not know it at this point in time, but there's a very good reason, and you will figure it out eventually, and you will thank the Lord that you trusted your gut. I hope this makes sense to you guys. I wonder how you guys are entrusting your intuition. Do you trust your intuition impeccably, or from time to time, from situation to situation? I'd love to hear from you guys. Let me know by messaging me at boomshikha@themillionairehippie.com. I'll talk to you guys the next time around. Bye for now.
Thanks for listening. Go check out my website at themillionairehippie.com if you want more free, awesome content. If you really like the podcast, please consider giving me a 5-star review on iTunes. Until next time, namaste.